Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live. It's time for the weekend highlights when we give you our picks so you can make your picks. And this week we have a great lineup. This is the weekend of Friday, April 11th until Sunday, April 13th. We have Japanese dance in the U.S. We've got a top Spanish organist in Siberia, a gala in Moscow, a top conductor's dream come true in Detroit, and two operas, not one, but two, coming to you from the Teatro Galli in Rimini, Italy. So it's a full weekend and great stuff to tell you about. Before I go any further, I want to remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please click like the video. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. If you're watching us on our other platforms, we're very happy that so many of you like our videos, but we'd also be much happier if you would actually follow us or subscribe to us on these platforms: X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, or LinkedIn. And sorry we were starting a little late today. Our Restream platform was, for some reason, not able to load Facebook. So Facebook will get a recorded version of this live stream on this occasion. Sorry about that, folks. If you were waiting for us on Facebook at 6:30 in the evening, European time today, April 11th, 12:30 on the East Coast, 9:30 in the morning on the West Coast, we could not get to you. The Restream platform, our hassle-free restreaming platform, couldn't get us to Facebook today. So let's start going through the weekend, and I will give you our top picks so you can make your top picks. Friday, April 11th, the top pick that we would have for you, what we'd recommend for you, the best of what we have available in live streaming, is the Tamagawa University Dance and Taiko Group, or Taiko Group, which is a Japanese dance group at the Kennedy Center Millennium stage. That'll be at 6 o'clock on the East Coast, 3 o'clock on the West Coast, midnight in Europe, and 9 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, down under in Australia, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. This dance group has been touring the world since 1961. They've been to Mexico, England, Greece, Canada, Malaysia, Russia, Indonesia, across Africa, and the U.S. This is their 14th annual East Coast of the U.S. tour, where they usually go to Philadelphia, New York, and Washington, D.C. at the very least, very often in conjunction with the National Cherry Blossom Festival, which that takes place in April. There's one at the Kennedy Center. There's one in Greater Philadelphia. And they've actually appeared at an NBA halftime show at the Wachovia Center. So, and they have won competition. So I just think we don't get all that many live streams of dance. So when you get a chance to see dance live streamed, I would jump at the chance. Now, there are a couple other things going on Saturday evening. Jussa-Pekka Saraste is conducting the Stuttgart Orchestra, playing Haydn and Shostakovich symphonies. And as usual, Canon Martin Green will be doing the St. Paul's Episcopal Cathedral weekly organ recital live stream. That Stuttgart Orchestra is at 8 o'clock in the evening European time, and the St. Paul's Episcopal Cathedral with Canon Martin Green is at 1 in the afternoon on the West Coast. But we're recommending, our top pick for Friday is that Japanese dance thing, sort of like Japan's answer to river dance. So I like it. And I think that we have there's a picture there in the upper left-hand corner. You know, often when I do our roundups during the week, I have separate pictures for each for each group I talk about. But I don't do that with the weekend highlights. You have all the pictures up there, and as I talk about them, I may mention to you who's in what picture. All right, on Saturday, we only are aware of one live stream. Now, I'm not sure whether this is not counting whether or not the Berlin Phil for €9.90 has a live stream going on Saturday, or whether or not Stage Plus has a live stream going on for the same cost of a weekly ticket. You'll have to check that out on your own. We were not able to include it in this week's listings. But generally, we do not make as our top picks anything that you're going to have to pay for. Our top picks are great live performances at no cost to you. That's what we favor, because we think in the long run, the way to cover those costs is by building a larger global audience so that you can monetize it other ways rather than pay-per-view. But different, I think it's terrific that the New York Phil and some the Berlin Phil and some other orchestras are actually working at building sufficient audiences to make it financially sustainable, because we want these live streams to be sustainable. Let's move on then to Saturday. The only one we have is Art Bendy is live streaming an organ and operatic soprano concert where it's a Lenten concert. They will be doing selections from Bach's two Passions, the Passion according to Matthew and the Passion according to John, also from the B minor Mass and from a few cantatas. That's what the two singers will be. The singers are Olga Ionova and Anastasia Lepeshinskaya, and they are both soloists with the Novaya Opera Theater in Moscow. And the organist is Mariana Vysotskaya, and she's the organ professor at the Moscow Conservatory. So this should be good. Well, especially if you like Bach. I mean, it's Bach, Bach, Bach. But I can't say that it's up there as interesting as a program as some of the others are. But if you're interested in Bach, yeah. There'll also be 3 Bach pieces for the organ itself: a fantasy and fugue in C minor, and 2 choral preludes. And one is from Jesus Christus, our God, and then the other is Christ lagen Todesbanden. Those would be BWV 665 and BWV 625 for those who are interested. And so that's all we have that we can point to for you on Saturday. I still wouldn't call it one of our top picks, but the Roman Catholic Cathedral in Moscow, these are always lovely concerts, and this is another one of many lovely concerts that they do. So now let's move on to Sunday, and Sunday is where you have most of our top picks, because Sunday there's a long list of different live streams that you have available to you, and probably Sunday morning or late Saturday night we will put out a list of everything that's going to be going on Sunday. But that's not what we're going to be doing with this particular live stream of ours. First thing we want you to know is that Apr is streaming that terrific live stream outfit down in Italy, which gathers together the works of about a half a dozen different opera companies in Italy, is live streaming free of charge from the Teatro Galli in Rimini, Italy. The usual pairing, 1-2 punch, I call it, of Mascagni's Cavalleria Rusticana and Pagliacci by Leon Calvo. This is a very I'm not going to tell you a lot about it because it takes too long. It would take me a good 20 minutes to do a workup on it. And I will do a live stream tomorrow, Saturday, at 6 o'clock in the evening, European time, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast, in which I will give you that 20-minute workup on these 2 operas. What I will tell you is that, they're very interesting operas. The Cavalleria Rusticana was composed by Mascagni for a contest. He'd never composed an opera. And this was like back around 1890, something like that, or 1888, I don't know. And he came up with a 1-act opera, and it was a huge hit. This was like these things that we have now in our time, these various TV contests for talent. This was like Italy Has Talent back in 1890. So Mascagni won, and I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. But and then Leon Calvo sees this, and he says, "Well, I can compose as well as Mascagni." So then he comes up with the Pagliacci, which is a 2-act opera. So that's how that came into being, and I'll tell you more about who's in it and in the production, and who the singers are and the performers and what their background is. So that, of course, is a top pick. Anytime we get opera, an opera by an Italian opera house, it's going to be a top pick. and free of charge. You can't walk into an opera house in the world, anywhere in the world, and get that, but you get that on Sunday. And that'll be Sunday afternoon, 3:30 in the afternoon European time, 9:30 in the morning on the East Coast, 6:30 in the morning on the West Coast, and midnight down under in Australia. And the picture that I have there on the side is the big picture at the bottom. That's from one of the scenes with just about everybody on stage in the Cavalleria Rusticana. But that's not all that we have on Sunday. So there are going to be a number of concerts on Sunday. I will do this Hysteron Proteron, as we used to say in classics. I'll give you our pick last. The Sunday starts with Christian Machalaru conducting the Köln Philharmonic in the what they call the President's Benefit Concert, which is done every year in Germany, but it's a different orchestra each year. And so ARD Classic is live streaming it. It's at 11 o'clock in the morning European time, so it's not going to be at a viewable time. Well, it'll be 2 in the morning on the West Coast in the U.S. if you're up late on Saturday night. And this will be crowd pleasers by Ravel, Andre Previn, Leonard Bernstein, Enescu, because it's a festive sort of Sunday brunch concert, you call it. It's not our top pick. The Tomsk Philharmonic, if you are a Rachmaninoff and Prokofiev a lover, an hour later at noon in Europe, 6 in the morning on the East Coast, and 10 o'clock in the evening down under in Australia. Igor Berendeyev will be conducting the Tomsk Philharmonic with soloist Filip Kopachevsky, and they'll do Rachmaninoff's Concerto for Piano and Orchestra No. 2 and Prokofiev's Symphony No. 5, which is one of my favorite symphonies. So that's a good one too. But that's again not our top pick. And then a little later in the evening at 8 o'clock Moscow time, 6 o'clock in the evening Central European time, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast, the Mariinsky Theater Orchestra is putting on one of their gala concerts. And this is finishing up like a 10 or 11-day festival for flute virtuosos and northern lyres. By that they mean harps. So there will be 1, 2, 3, 4 flutes, a piccolo flute, 3 harpists, and someone playing a wheeled lyre in this concert. And those are always fun concerts. So, out of all these orchestral things on Sunday, you can see there are some interesting things. But what's our top pick? Our top pick is the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, Sunday, April 13th at 3 in the afternoon, Eastern Daylight Time, noon on the West Coast, and 9 o'clock in the evening in Europe. It's a top pick for one reason, among others, that Europeans get a chance to view the Detroit Symphony, which is a fine symphony, at a reasonable hour. When the Detroit Symphony does their concerts on Saturday evenings, it's 8 o'clock in the evening, and it's too late for Europeans unless they want to stay up till 2 in the morning or later. So in this particular concert, it is a very distinguished conductor, Sir Donald Runnicles, conducting Bruckner's 8th Symphony in the Detroit Concert Hall, which has been a dream of his for years. Now, what you need to realize is the Detroit Concert Hall is not built huge like many of the modern oversized concert halls. It is more compact, which means it has more immersive acoustics because the sound is kept in instead of spreading. The concert hall in Stockholm is similar to that, and I love it. The interesting thing is that Runnicles is there as a conductor exchange. Runnicles is the head conductor at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. And Jader Bignemeni, who heads up the Detroit Orchestra, he's in Berlin this week, and he's going to be next Thursday. He'll be conducting the Deutsche Oper Berlin instead of the Sir Runnicles. So in an American program, I don't think it's live streamed. Bernstein, Gershwin, Cole Porter, that kind of thing. Now, Runnicles has been around for a while. He was born in 1954, so he's like 70 years old. Got a lot of experience. He's known for the romantic repertoire and Bruckner. And this Bruckner's A Symphony, when you do it, it's humongous. That's the evening. That's it. They do the eighth, which was inspired by Beethoven's Ninth. So it's got everything in it but the kitchen sink, and maybe the kitchen sink as well. So and Runnicles was the chief conductor of the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra for 6-7 years. And then he was principal guest conductor of the Atlanta Symphony. He is the principal guest conductor of the Sydney Symphony Orchestra down in Australia. And he's been with the Deutsche Oper Berlin since 2009. So, and also worked with other places like the San Francisco Opera. So a guy with the feel for the dramatic, conducting a very dramatic orchestra. We put it on the top of our list for orchestral experiences on Sunday. And there's a picture of him there, the top guy on the right. A white-haired guy. And there's a picture of some soloists that are going to be playing at the Mariinsky Theater there in the middle row. So what else do we have for you then? Well, now there's the question of organ recitals. There are 3 organ recitals this weekend. As I've mentioned, you have Canon Martin Green on Friday night. You have at Thomas Hospital, the excellent organist at the Saint Eustache Church in the usual weekly live stream at on Sunday at 5 in the evening. But our pick is a live stream that will be done out with the Tomsk Philharmonic. The organist is Jesús Sampedro Márquez, and he's from Spain. And this is not going to be one of your usual organ recitals, which usually are maybe a half an hour to 45 minutes. This will be a full-scale deal. He's visiting from afar, and I want to tell you some of what he's going to be. I want to tell you a bit more about him. He's an organ teacher at the Conservatory in Seville, Spain, which is where he lives. He's a cathedral organist there as well. He'll be playing all sorts of Spanish music for the organ, which you may not know of. So this is not, it's not like the usual, I'll say, here's some Bach or here's some Charles Marie Widor or something like that. He'll be playing Eduardo Torres in the old way, Domingo Archambault, 6 dances. He'll be playing music by Luis Leandro Mariana, Offer for the Grand Organ. He'll be playing Francisco de Tejada, called Hispanioleta, from composed in 1721. Some Manuel de Falla, the ritual dance to expel unclean spirits, from the flamenco ballet Love the Sorceress, arranged on the organ by Jesús Sampedro, and he'll finish up with Jesus Guridi's triptych, The Good Shepherd. So I think that's going to be a heck of a concert. It's on at 7 o'clock Siberian time, which puts it at 1 o'clock in Europe, 7 in the morning on the East Coast, and too early on the West Coast, and 11 o'clock in the evening Australian Eastern Daylight Time. That's our pick of organ recitals for this weekend. Now, what that leaves us with is one more category, which is chamber music. And what do we think is top chamber music live stream this weekend? And it comes down, it's very simple for us. Well, the Baltimore Symphony musicians and friends are putting on a live stream at the Kennedy Center on Sunday. No, it's not at the Kennedy Center. It's Community Concerts at 2nd. And what it is and we give you the separate link to it, the Baltimore Symphony has a group of musicians who are dedicated to going out and playing in the community and bringing high quality chamber music to community centers around Baltimore. This is one of their forays out into doing it. It's a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 musicians. I will tell you a little more about them. They'll be doing 3 pieces. They'll be doing Leon Smith's trio for viola, clarinet, and piano. That's and then they'll be doing Zoltan Kodály's a duo for violin and cello, and then they will finish up with a sextet by Theodore Blumer in 8 parts, and that will be flute, oboe, clarinet, bassoon, horn, and piano. And to us now, that's a very full chamber music offering by top musicians from the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra, and that's what we think is the top chamber music piece this week. It's one of our top picks. If we didn't have a good chamber music piece, we wouldn't tell you about it. However, we want to give an honorable mention to another live stream a little later in the day on Sunday, and this will be Constellation Chicago live stream. They're live streaming a group called Reverso. Okay, this is at 8:30 in the evening. So a little, I think it's going to Eastern Daylight Time. So it's after everything else that's going on we've told you about. 5:30 in the evening Pacific Daylight Time, 2:30 in the morning in Europe, but it might be worth staying up for if this intrigues you, especially if you're in France, and 11:30 in the morning Australian Eastern Daylight Time, Monday morning. Reverso they call themselves a trans-ocean improvising chamber and jazz project with roots in France and America. It's Ryan Keberly on trombone, Frank West on piano, and Vince Kurt, a French cellist, on the cello. Now, Ryan Keberly is based in New York, I think. Frank West is a Paris-based pianist. He's the music director for Ibrahim Malouf, and Vincent Kurt is a French guy. Now, what these guys are inspired by the way that classical music and jazz started intersecting about a century ago with composers like Satie, Stravinsky, and Milhaud, and also by Ravel, and also by there was a group called the Group of Six, whose members included Milhaud, Francis Poulenc, Arthur Honegger, and one woman, Germaine Taillefer. They were inspired by this to create their own compositions, tending in the direction of jazz, but based on this classical music. And in particular, they tell us what they draw on for particular inspiration is Ravel's Le Tombeau de Couperin, the Tomb of Couperin, which is, although it was not made, it was not composed for a group of trombone, piano, and cello. So I just find that a very interesting group that I think we can commend to you and say, yeah, that's like an honorable mention is what I would call it. So to recap all of that, our top picks: opera streaming Sunday afternoon, the Kennedy Center Millennium stage, the Japanese dance group at 6 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Daylight Time in the U.S. The Tomsk Philharmonic live streaming Organist Jesús Sampedro Márquez on Sunday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon European time. The Baltimore Symphony musicians and friends at 3:30 in the afternoon Eastern Daylight Time, and the Detroit Symphony Orchestra later Sunday at 3 in the afternoon Eastern Daylight Time, 9 o'clock in the evening in Europe. And with honorable mentions for Art Bene and its live stream of the organ and operatic sopranos on Saturday evening in Moscow, the Mariinsky Theater Orchestra Gala concert for flutes and harps, and Constellation Chicago's Reverso. So these are the things I can commend to you. I hope one, more, or any of them proves inspiring to you or uplifting or just shows you a good time. And that will be it. Well, no, that's not it for the weekend, because I'm going to be back tomorrow at 6 in the evening, European time, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast, to give you some more information in advance on opera streaming's live stream of Cavalleria's Rusticana and Pagliacci on Sunday afternoon, so I can do it justice in about a 20-minute live stream. You take care, have a good weekend, and maybe we'll see you tomorrow.